One evening a couple of years ago, I was watching a movie with a friend when there was a knock, knock, knock at the front door. Not gentle, but not police level knocking either. Since I was coming back from the bathroom, I was already up and heading toward the door, maybe 3 steps away. I opened the door to see nothing. Just a calm, pretty evening, maybe an hour before sunset. I kind of looked around, shrugged it off, and went back inside to continue watching the movie. 15 minutes go by when there's another knock, knock, knock at the door, no less insistent than the first time. This time I'm sitting in my chair, just a step from the front door. Now I'm annoyed, so I hop up and swing the door open. Still nothing. I live on a corner lot, so I more or less make a quick lap around the lot. Still nothing. At this point I'm dubious that anyone could have gotten away that quickly without me hearing a sound. But I don't really believe in the supernatural, so my mind hasn't gone there yet. Now I'm slightly peeved and weirded out. I get a dining room chair and place it by the door, leaving my hand on the doorknob, ready to nab whoever is fucking up my evening. Maybe another 15 minutes go by when there's a bam, bam, boom on the door, scaring the shit out of me. I throw the door open within a second, and nothing. Nobody is there, there are no sounds, and no marks are on the door. I don't claim to know what happened, but I know there's no way that was a person doing the knocking. I lived in this house until we moved just 2 months ago, and nothing out of the ordinary ever happened again. This all started about a month ago in February. I was home alone while my mom was at work and my sisters were at school. I had stayed home as kind of a mental health day to take a break after finals. I was in my room listening to music on my Alexa speaker when I hear a very loud slam, and it sounded like a door slamming shut, so generally I paused my music and opened my bedroom door, and across from my room I see the bathroom door shut when I had left it open about 20 minutes before. I call my mom, and she tells me she's also been hearing things bang, so she told me she would come home and check it out. As she was taking on the phone with me, my bathroom door opens in front of my face, so I instinctively shut and locked my door. I tell my mom what happened, and so she comes home from work right then. When she arrives, she knocks on my door, and I open it. Then we open the bathroom door and soap is knocked over. Everything in the shower, such as shampoo and etc., are scattered everywhere, and all the pictures in the bathroom were on the floor. But since my mom left work, she would have to leave me alone at the house again, so she could go back to work. I call my cousin and ask if I can come over, and I tell him everything that happened, and so he comes and picks me up. Later around 7 I come home, and my mom's off work and my sisters are home from school. My mom is making dinner and my sisters are doing whatever teenage girls do in their rooms. Around 10 minutes pass and dinner is ready, so we all sit down. We were all eating spaghetti when we heard glass shatter from my mom's room, so we all go in and her nail polish is all over the ground. We were all freaked out at this point, but we came to the conclusion that it was in bad spot, so it fell, which was probably just thing my mom said, so we didn't freak out. It's now March 23, 2025, 12:49 p.m. Mountain Time, and I have heard another loud bang. I'm kinda scared tbh, and I don't know what to do. I grew up in the backwoods of Washington State. My family lived on a 5-acre plot of land. More than half the property was covered by dense woods that expanded past our property lines for miles. My entire childhood was spent in those woods with my brother, playing, climbing trees, and catching frogs at the ponds. It was everything 2 boys could ask for. One late summer night, I believe my twin and I were about 8, I heard someone screaming outside far off in the woods. I was the only one to hear it because I had my window open. It scared me to my core. I've heard screams before, but they were from coyotes. This was different. I went to my brother's room and opened the window to see if he could hear it as well. Sure enough, he did. Not wanting to bother our parents, we decided not to say anything. After about a week of these screams, we decided to tell our parents. My parents told us it was probably coyotes and it was nothing to be afraid of. The screams every day sounded like they were getting closer to the house. Then outdoor toys went missing. I wasn't able to find my skateboard I left outside one night. My brother's bike was taken. And our favorite pool inflatables were gone. We told our parents again about the screams and now our toys were gone. Of course, they said that the screams were coyotes and that our stuff went missing cause we don't take care of them and probably got lost. The screams were getting so loud and sounding so close that I stopped sleeping with my window open. But there was one night that I could hear yelling that sounded closer than ever before. I peered out the window, and what I saw sent shivers down my spine and paralyzed me with fear. Just outside my second-floor bedroom window that looked over the backyard into the edge of the woods, I saw the figure of a slender person. Even from my window I could see the moon reflecting off the whites of their eyes, large and bulging out of the sockets, the eyes fixed on the house unmoving. It was a man who stood a foot taller than the tall wooden fence that separated the backyard from the trees. His gaze slowly shifted towards to my window. He caught sight of me. Slowly, with his slender legs, he made his way across the fence to the gate. "Oh no, he's coming my way. What do I do? Help! He's getting closer. I can't move." He was close enough for me to see his face clearly now. His mouth wide open, an expression of surprise on his face, because of just how much his eyes bulged from his sockets. So much so that I couldn't even imagine how he could blink. A head decorated with tufts of hair. Most of his scalp was bare, seemed as though his hair was pulled out. His clothes were tattered and dirty. He wasn't wearing any shoes. He stepped right under my window and stared up at me. His eyes unmoving, unblinking. His mouth open like in a perpetual scream, but was silent. I'm not sure how long we stared at each other, felt like minutes. Frozen in fear until a blood-curdling scream coming from a face that was still unmoving and unblinking emanated from his mouth. That broke the hold of my body. I jumped back from the window, ran straight to my brother's room. He had heard it as well. We busted into our parents' room screaming and crying. They assumed I had a bad nightmare and scared my brother. No matter how much I pleaded, they would not believe me. The last week of summer was the worst of them all. The man with the bulging eyes would stare at me from the tree line at night. Every once in a while I would see him during the day, but every time I yelled for someone to come over, he would disappear. When school started up, I was relieved to not be at home all the time. It was a stressful time. I started hearing and seeing the man less and less. I started to think that maybe it was my imagination that conjured up this image. My parents might have been right. As a kid, I had quite the imagination. However, on a late Tuesday night, there was a knock at the front door. The thought of the screaming man came into my mind. Could he be knocking? Could he be coming to take me? My father answered the door and greeted a cop. The cop explained that the neighbors called 911 for someone breaking into their pool house. The officer told my father that the man had been living in the woods for a few months, and that if anything went missing over the summer, then it might be found at the camp the intruder had set up. I went out the back door to catch a glimpse of the man that broke into the neighbor's property. Putting my face up near the car window to peer into the dark cop car, a face slowly inched closer to the other side of the glass. Eyes bright white and bulging, mouth ajar, and tufts of hair became visible. It was the screaming man from the summer. I guess after telling my long story, the message I'm trying to say is that kids aren't always playing pretend when they say there is a monster. I sure wasn't.